Hello there. Back during the twilight era of the Old Republic was a brand new ship. A ship that was designed by Incom Corporation and Sublight Products Corporation to create a brand new starfighter that was top of the line for the clone troopers to utilize during dogfight situations and against capital ships. It was a starfighter, it was a bomber, it was an escort ship, and it also had the ability to go into hyperspace at literally any point. This ship, of course, was known as the ARC-170 Starfighter, also known as the Aggressive Reconnaissance 170 Starfighter, and today we are going to talk about this ship, its advantages, and everything having to do with it in regard to the Grand Army of the Republic. So without further ado, here we go. But first, as always, we start with a little bit of a breakdown. The Aggressive Reconnaissance 170 Starfighter, or otherwise simply known as the ARC-170 Starfighter, was a heavy-duty model of starfighter used by the Galactic Republic during the time of the Clone Wars and was considered the latest in starfighter technology. Jointly manufactured by Incom Corporation and SubPro, also known as Sublight Products Corporation, this ship was utilized to basically be everything that the clone troopers needed in a dogfight situation against other droid starfighters and other capital ships that were top of the line of the Trade Federation and the Confederacy of Independent Systems. And to be completely honest, this ship was absolutely huge. At 12.71 meters in length, 19.85 meters in width, 3.81 meters in height, with hypersonic arrays and different repulsor lift stabilizers, two IGP 440A ion turbine engines, a Class 1.5 hybrid drive, power generators, deflector shields, front-mounted projectors, tough armor, and 6 different kinds of sensors. Long-range sensors, 6 different active sensor modules, starboard passive sensor antennas, dedicated energy repulsors, receptors, and gamma-ray imaging spectrophotometers, along with multiple kinds of rangefinders, navigational equipment, flight computers, jamming systems, 2 laser cannons on the sides, 2 ATF laser cannons on the front, and 6 proton torpedoes, along with a gunner in the back, with a pilot, a co-pilot, a tail gunner, an astromech droid, no passengers, a month's worth of consumables for some reason, communications processors, long-wave antenna, S-foil scanners, waste heat sinks, and playing multiple different roles as a attack and anti-ship mission fighter, dogfighting fighter, a large-scale combatant, and a long-range armed reconnaissance standoff fighter, mainly known in 22 BBY just before the Battle of Geonosis. Now, of course, as you can imagine, this ship was extremely successful in reconnaissance missions, and the crew that made up of the entirety of the ship was of 3 stages: the pilot, the co-pilot, and the tail gunner, as well as a astromech droid which doubled as a navigator. The co-pilot could man the entirety of the ship himself, or could use the weapon systems, and it could switch back and forth between him and the pilot, and the ship was equipped with consumables enough to last for 5 days, which allowed the crew to undertake lonely independent missions deep into hostile territory, and which also allowed, with a hyperdrive, to be able to exit out of hostile territory very quickly as soon as they got the information that they wanted. And of course, it had plenty of armament with 2 laser cannons on the tips of the wings, 2 AFT laser cannons on the front of the actual ship itself, proton torpedo launchers with proton torpedoes themselves, and of course, a tail gunner to shoot any ships that were coming up behind them. And of course, let's also not forget the fact that this thing had like 5 different sensors, all of which could basically relay back to the ship what exactly was going on, and anything that would catch any sight of them, they would find out first, so they could either get out of there as fast as possible so they could get back with information to their main cruiser, or they could basically sense anything that came their way within a heartbeat and manage to fight them off. And of course, as it was said already, this ship was the main frontline force for the Clone Wars, and was the frontline force for the Grand Army of the Republic during the time of the Clone Wars. But immediately after the Clone Wars ended, sometime about a couple of months, if not a couple of years into it, the ARC-170 Starfighter was replaced with the TIE Fighter. And as the TIE Fighter became the new line for the entirety of the Galactic Empire, a lot of the ships had to go, like the Torrent Fighter, the ARC-170, and of course the V-Wing. But to be fair, they were better off anyway, because the Grand Army of the Republic ships then ended up in the hands of the Alliance to Restore the Republic, who retrofitted them with the best designs possible, making them more powerful, faster, and more diabolical on the battlefield and in space. And along with the ARC-170 was the V-Wing and the N-1 Starfighter, as well as the Torrent Starfighters and many other starfighters from the Galactic Republic's era that made it to the actual Rebel Alliance. And as far as we know, after the Clone Wars and after the Rebel Alliance's fight against the Empire in the Galactic Civil War, there were many other groups that actually used the ARC-170, like the Jinta security systems and the Resistance fleet, as well as the Resistance Navy, who fought against the First Order. So maybe one day we'll be able to see the ARC-170 in its former glory, and we'll be able to see the ARC-170 back on the silver screen in the new Starfighter movie. But until then, the actual mystery of the ARC-170 will still be around, and until we actually see it in either a live action or animated project, or maybe in the comics, we won't know what the actual fate of the ARC-170 is. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys really like sticking around for these videos. It really warms my heart. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, do whatever it is you like to do. Share it out with your friends, and I will see you guys in the next video.